beauty and thy might.
O Mother, who was long before a day, and after us many an age shalt be, careworn and blind, we wander from thy way. Earth, O earth, O dewy mother. Earth, O earth, breathe on us, O thy beauty and thy might. O earth, born of thy strength, yet weak and cold are we. Please grant us, Mother, us to praise some of thy light and majesty, thy light and majesty. Earth, O earth, O dewy mother. Earth, O earth, breathe on us, O thy beauty and thy might. O earth, O earth, O mighty mother. O earth, O earth, breathe on us, all thy beauty and thy light. Mother, breathe on us, O earth.
Again, thank you so very much to Pinellas Park High School, singing O Earth, a poem from Archibald Lapman, a prayer arranged by E.K.R. Hamill, and thank you so much to Miss Helen Twenham, their director. Fabulous, yes. Is your principal here? I was just looking to see if the principal was here. I was going to acknowledge. There you go. Okay, I didn't see you. Thank you so very much. Wonderful talent. Thank you. Moving forward with our video, we have today with us the Teacher of the Year finalist. Every year, we partner with the Pinellas Education Foundation to honor our teachers and select Pinellas County's Teacher of the Year. In this video, you will meet the top 10 nominees as they learn they are finalists for this very prestigious award. We will recognize all of the nominees and find out who the winner is at our Evening of Excellence celebration that's held at the Mahaffey Theater on January 28th. I sincerely hope you're able to join us. Thank you and good luck to all of the finalists. Let's look at the video.
I'm Darlene Lebo, principal at St. Petersburg High School, and I am extremely proud to introduce you to Andrea Anderson, one of the 10 finalists for Teacher of the Year for Pinellas County Schools.
I love my kids. It made me happy to walk in here and see them, and I see all my girls back here. So I love my job, and I love St. Pete High. And I'm gonna cry.
I have some amazing news. Miss Drummond is one of the 10 finalists for Teacher of the Year for Pinellas County.
I'm completely shocked. I didn't get here on my own, so I'm very thankful for my colleagues and family, because without them, the extra hours that I put in wouldn't be able to happen. So I'm just very thankful for their support.
I do want us to do a big manatee salute for them, boys and girls, because we are so proud of her, and I know how excited you all are. Manatee salute.
We are so excited today to announce that your teacher, Ms. Hajian, is a top 10 finalist for Teacher of the Year in Pinellas County Schools.
I'm honored. There's a lot of good teachers just in this school, so to be selected this, I'm really honored. I love what I do. I love these kids. I've always wanted to be a teacher, and so this is really, it's like a dream come true.
Hello, boys and girls. I just want to let you know that I'm very proud to announce that our teacher, Mrs. Emily Maker, is one of the 10 finalists for the Teacher of the Year Award. Congratulations, Mrs. Maker.
Oh, wow. Thank you. What an honor. I'm so excited. I'm speechless. I am in shock, but I am completely honored and humbled by this, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
We're here to congratulate you on being a top 10 Teacher of the Year finalist for Pinellas County Schools. Yay! How do you feel, Autumn?
A little overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed, excited, and extremely humbled because I think my colleagues are so much responsible for this for me, and as well as the kids. The kids make me look good.
Not being disrespectful.
Not being disrespectful, right?
So Ms. Iovino is officially one of the top 10 Teachers of the Year for Pinellas County Schools.
Yeah, I was not expecting this, actually. Surprised and thankful, and I don't think I would be unless I was at the school, to be honest, because of my kids. So really appreciative.
Good morning, Miss Reed. We're happy to announce that you are one of the top 10 finalists for Teacher of the Year to represent Azalea Elementary.
Oh my gosh. That's all I can say. Wow, and you got me crying on TV.
Do you believe that you can fill out this form?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very humbled.
We have a very special announcement. Your teacher, Ms. Stryker, has been nominated as one of the top 10 finalists for Outstanding Educator of Pinellas County Schools. Woo!
I am just overwhelmed. It's so exciting. You know, you work so hard for your students, and everything I do is for them. To think that I could get any kind of recognition is beyond my imagination.
It's a protractor.
Boys and girls, we are here to tell you that Miss Kengott has been voted one of the top 10 finalists of Teacher of the Year.
I don't know what to say now. Oh, thank you.
We always talk to our students about to fulfill your purpose, and I really believe that this is what I'm meant to do, and I'm just really lucky that I get to fulfill my purpose every day, and I'm just so blessed to be a teacher.
I am really honored to announce that your teacher, Miss Bellino, is a top 10 finalist as a Teacher of the Year for the Pinellas County School System. So congratulations, congratulations. A top 10 finalist for the Outstanding Teacher of the Year for the Pinellas County Schools.
This group here is the perfect example of why I do what we do. We just
did a test and we're talking about why they were successful or unsuccessful and what we're going to do to get them what they need. And that's why I show up every morning. I'm just very thankful.
Thank you all so very much. Wasn't that nice? Each and every one of them are winners as far as I'm concerned. I know that we picked one, but I think all 10 are absolutely fabulous and wonderful. So I can't wait until the 28th. I'm always surprised. Next, we'll have our introduction of professional and community organizations by Lisa M. Wolf, our public information officer.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego, and staff, it is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. Representing the Pinellas Educational Support Professionals Association, Nellie Henyes. With the Pinellas Classroom Teacher Association, Mike Gandolfo. Representing SEIU and the Florida Public Services Union, Talmadge Andrews and Rebecca Dean. With the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, Reagan Miller. Representing the Pinellas Arts for a Complete Education Coalition, Dr. Victoria Hagedorn. And a member of the media in attendance today is Megan Reeves with the Tampa Bay Times. Today we will have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibilities Committee. Please welcome from Pinellas Park High School, Boyan Milojevic and Amaya Ellison.
Good morning to the chairperson and superintendent, Dr. Grego, and the rest of the school board. Thank you for allowing us to be here today and the rest in attendance today. I am currently a senior at Pinellas Park High School, and before I turn it over, I would like to thank you guys for the opportunity for giving us the chance to express what we feel as students at Pinellas Park High School and what we feel like makes our high school an amazing high school and a place to be and learn.
All right, before we begin, I would also like to thank Madam Chair, Superintendent Dr. Grego, and the rest of the school board and those in attendance for allowing us this opportunity. My name is Amaya Ellison, and I'm going to be talking to you about Pinellas Park High School's one of their major academic programs known as the First Responders Program. This allows students interested, or maybe if they don't have an interest in the first responders career path, to get hands-on experience with various careers in that field, such as an EMT or a firefighter or different versions of law enforcement. This program allows students to achieve many different certifications, such as an EMT certification and becoming CPR certified, as well as giving them experience with equipment pertaining to that field. If you were to talk to a senior within the firefighter career path, they'd be able to tell you the ins and outs of how to operate a fire truck. They work with the hosing on the equipment, they work with all of the suits that firefighters work with, they work with the ladders and everything along those lines. In addition to this, many of the students within the First Responders Program work towards their annual school-wide event known as Disaster Day, where they're able to put these skills to practical use in different scenarios all across campus, whether it be there are flooding or there's any sort of emergency situation going on, somebody collapses within the school, so they're able to use their skills and put them to good use. Moreover, I would like to talk about one of the extracurricular opportunities at our school known as Key Club, which is sponsored by the Kiwanis Club. This is a club that allows students to become more involved within their community in volunteering and service work along those lines. Our Key Club alone has volunteered over 872 hours in 1 month, and I'd like to make note that whenever we go to our annually occurring events, people know us as Pinellas Park High School Key Club rather than just a Key Club from any of the high schools in Florida. In my opinion, being a part of this club really improves student involvement within the school and the community as a whole. And I would like to turn it back over to Boyan.
Alrighty, thank you. So additionally, you just heard about the First Responders Program, but since it kind of correlates to the Criminal Justice Academy program, which we have as well, I would just like to mention that to our main entrance when you enter Pinellas Park High School. On the right side, you have a 9/11 memorial, which to me symbolizes not only the innocent lives that were lost on one of the most tragic events in the United States, but it shows me a symbol of we're here to learn today, and let's get what we can from each day of the school year to put into our career lives to ever prevent from things like this ever happening again. And just to give you a quick visual image, there's bricks around the memorial, and each brick has a message of a student or member that had something to relate with 9/11. And in the center of all bricks is one clear brick, which actually has a piece of one of the twin towers that had been hit, and actually was donated by who is now one of our school resource officers. And it's just a symbol of we're here to learn and put this into our lives and to prevent this from ever happening again. And since I think it's a perfect fit because not only were first responders involved, but so were our law enforcement. And speaking of law enforcement, another program we have is the Criminal Justice Academy, which is a 4-year course just as the first responders, and each year you have a different course and object, so it's not just certain law enforcement, but we have from learning attorneys and judges or forensic sciences, and it's a very amazing program which gives us experience, and not only just experience, but it gives us resources that combines us to outside of school. So for example, in freshman year, I had no idea about the Police Explorers, which connects us with law enforcement agencies, and not only just like Police Explorers, but many other opportunities like ride-alongs for students. So I think, in my opinion, it's very important of learning these events early, like your freshman and sophomore years, so you have more time to choose a career path you wish for your future. And for example, ride-along is you would go on an event with a law enforcement officer from the beginning of the shift to the end, and you would witness everything you see and go through everything the police officer would go through that day. And I feel like seeing things with your own eyes is the best way to learn. Stepping aside from the Criminal Justice Academy program, we have another huge unique thing about Pinellas Park High School is our Learning Success Center, our G2 lab, since it's in room G2. It is a centers for students to get extra help, tutoring, help with any subjects, and personally, I think this helped a lot, especially during even college application week. There was guidings to signing up for colleges and making sure that you're signing up the right way and doing everything that you need to. And not only just, for example, college applications, but tutoring and helpings. And personally, I know some of students that are afraid to ask questions in a large classroom setting. So this G2 Learning Success Center lab allows them to be with smaller groups of individuals. It makes them more comfortable, it makes them more peaceful, and it might be the one question that either makes them understand the whole lesson or not. So I think it is a very helpful success center, which is very unique to our school. And also, there are a variety of clubs at our school that some other schools do not have. And without our teachers, our staff, administration, we wouldn't be able to have these clubs. And I love that our teachers are so supportive. They are right there to open up a new clubs if we need to, if there's one that we do not have. So Pinellas Park High School allows every student to fit and put their puzzles pieces together to have a place for everyone, and I really love that about our high school. And I cannot, to wrap it up, I cannot be more thankful than in 5 months becoming a Pinellas Park High School Patriot alumni. I'm very thankful for the teachers, the staff, and I really wish they're just amazing. I hope they all know that. Thank you, guys.
Again, thank you so much to the principal, Mr. Brett Patterson, who we have here with us. And thank you so much, Bajan Milojevic and Amaya Ellison, for all of your hard work and for everything that you're doing. And I guess we'll be seeing someone in 5 months. Great job. Okay, moving on to our special order agenda. Do we have a motion on the special order agenda? Presentation of proclamation recognizing January 2019 as National Mentoring Month. That will be presented today by Valerie Brim, who is the Director of Strategic Partnerships.
Yes. Yeah, Madam Chair and board members, it gives me great pleasure to not only take the month of January and recognize the some 2,400 mentors that we have in our school district, but also the department that operates that and screens all of those individuals. We take a look at our mentoring program, as Dr. Brim is in charge of it. We think about things like lunch pals or 5,000 role models or girlfriends, and I'm sure she's going to name them all. But when you think about them, there's so many of them, and to organize all of those, the mentoring program in Pinellas County is significantly grown over the last several years. So I want to publicly thank Dr. Brim for her leadership and also continuing to take on more and more and really never saying no to mentoring opportunities for our young people, and understand that it really does make a difference in the lives of our students.
Well, thank you very much. Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Grego and staff, the President has proclaimed January as National Mentoring Month, and Pinellas County Schools celebrates over 3,000 active mentors. Our mentoring programs include general mentoring, lunch pals, Take Stock in Children, 5,000 role models, girlfriends, big brothers, big sisters, and peer-to-peer mentoring. The National Mentoring Public Awareness Campaign is celebrating mentoring programs across the country. I am grateful, and I'm quite sure our students are also grateful, that our board and our district recognize the importance of mentoring, and several board members and executive leadership staff are mentors. So I believe in putting your money where your mouth is, and they do so as well. I also want to say thank you for all of our corporate sponsors, our corporate and business partners, and community who actually are supporting our mentor programs in our schools. Lastly, we know that mentoring moves students to excellence through relationships. This morning, I am excited because we have 2 Lunch Pal students from Azalea Middle School who will speak briefly about their mentoring experiences. I would like to invite Elian Roberg Engel and Davion Garcia Ramos to the podium, escorted by our Lunch Pals coordinator, Ms. Keosha Simmons, to hear briefly their story and their experiences.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Davion Garcia Ramos. I am 12 years old, and I come from Azalea Middle School. A mentor. The definition of a mentor is someone that helps you, but to me, it's a friend. Through the past 3 years, my mentor has gave me advice and helped me with different things. Through 3rd and 4th grade, he brought a book, and we will read and write new words I didn't know or didn't know the definition of in a journal, which really helped with my vocab. Sometimes we'll just talk about anything that comes to mind. Sometimes we'll talk about stuff on a newspaper. But there is no specific conversation we talk about. In conclusion, this is my mentor, what it means to me, and how it helped me, but also for being a friend.
Stay there.
Good morning. I'm Elian Roebuck-Engel, age 12, and go to Azalea Middle School. Me and my mentor have been together for 5 years. Our favorite conversation we usually talk about is his trips and all the things that he likes to do. And the most important thing to have the mentor to me is he's like a really good friend to us, and he talks about like information from home or anything, like if anything's really going bad at home or grades at school. Having a mentor to me is also being a good friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also want to recognize their parents, if they could please stand. And I know their mentor is not here, but their mentor is Ron Diner. He's also our Lunch Pal sponsor with Raymond James. So he has been with them since 3rd and 4th grade. So he also speaks to the goal of mentoring. Lastly, I want to just say that a Lunch Pal story will be aired tomorrow morning on Channel 8. So please, if you have an opportunity, if you're up as early as 5 o'clock, just take an opportunity. Thank you very much, and thank you, Dr. Greco and Board.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion with a second? We do have a proclamation to read on this. Move approval of proclamation. Is there a second? Go ahead and read.
Proclamation National Mentoring Month. Whereas the goals of National Mentoring Month are to raise awareness of the value of mentoring, recruit individuals to mentor, and encourage organizations to engage and integrate quality mentoring into their efforts. And whereas a mentor is a caring person who is consistently present and who devotes time to a young person to help them discover their personal strengths and achieve their full potential through a structured, trusting relationship. And whereas quality mentoring encourages positive choices, promotes self-esteem, supports academic achievement, and introduces young people to new ideas. And whereas mentoring programs have also been effective in combating school violence and discipline problems, substance abuse, incarceration, and truancy. And whereas research shows that youth who participate in mentoring relationships are more likely to finish high school and continue on to college. And whereas National Mentoring Month gives us the opportunity to appreciate the staff and volunteers who dedicate their time to quality mentoring programs and celebrate the young people who have found their inner strength with the help of a mentor. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Pinellas County, Florida, and the Superintendent hereby proclaims the month of January 2019 as National Mentoring Month in our district, and urge all observed this week by taking time to recognize and acknowledge the impact of mentors in Pinellas County, who give so unselfishly of their time and talents so students can be successful.
We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all so very much in that one. That was very nice. Our second item is the recognition of First Responder Appreciation Week, and that's to be presented by Mr. Mark Hunt, the Executive Director of Career Technical and Adult Education. Dr. Grego?
Yeah, Madam Chair, we started this recognition several years ago, and it's one of the proudest things we do and most, I think, necessary we do to take the time to thank our first responders. And I want to take credit for the coordination of the students' comments on the first responders of Pinellas Park. I could see their faces as they were being talked about. And also, we listened to a lot of students. Those students were with no notes or anything. They were just really speaking from the heart. So they're very much in tune to the first responder program and criminal justice program there. But back to the agenda item is that it gives me great pleasure to publicly announce our appreciation as a school district for the service that our first responders have to work with us. So Mr. Hunt.
I will try and do as well as the kids, but I do have notes.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Mrs. Flowers, board members, Dr. Grego, and staff, it does bring us great pleasure to recognize our first responders. Those are police, fire, and medical first responders who dedicate their lives to serving our communities and protecting all citizens. They are the first to run toward danger and shepherd all others to safety without thought of their own well-being. Each day, the risks presented to this elite group grow increasingly more severe and all too numerous, yet they remain vigilant and ready to answer the call. The first week of January each year is dedicated to a time to formally recognize and show appreciation to first responders across the state of Florida and the service that the fire, police, and emergency medical responders across Florida provide each and every day cannot be measured in quantifiable terms, yet has a significant and lasting impact on all they serve. Our recognition today of their services is a small token of our esteem for their devotion and the professionalism these folks display every single day. With us today, we have a representative group from first responders across Pinellas County, and I'll call their name and we're going to recognize them in just a minute. But with us this morning from Pinellas Park Fire Department, we have Operations Chief Rob Angel, Seminole Fire Department Chief Heather Burford, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Joni Goodley, Clearwater Police Department Corporal Brad Starks, Largo Fire Rescue Department Public Educator Summer Marr, and firefighter Ralph Washington. And last but not least, our own very own Schools Police Sergeant Jim Rexroad. And now we want to say thank you very much to all of these professionals for what they do for us every single day. Thank you.
Very much, Mr. Hunt. That was absolutely wonderful. We greatly appreciate that. And they are to be recognized every single day for the yeoman job that they do. So thank you. And thank you to each of you that are here today. We now have the presentation of the 2017-2018 Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee. Icy Rock, it's what it's known of by so many others, and I know I appreciate it. I think everybody up here appreciates it. Dr. Grego?
Yes, I'd like to call upon Mr. Kevin Hendrick, Associate Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, to introduce our guest and the concept of Icy Rock.
Thank you, Dr. Grego, board members and staff. This morning, it's my pleasure to bring to you our annual report on the referendum. In 2004, the citizens of Pinellas County, and again 3 times thereafter, concluding in 2016, voted to increase the ad valorem millage to provide additional operating expenses for Pinellas County schools. The board sets those priorities, including retaining and recruiting quality teachers and enhancing academic programs. The board also established the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or Icy Rock, made up of 8 community groups. And this morning, it's my pleasure to introduce Melissa Honeycutt, who represents the Pinellas Realtor Organization and is this year the chair of Icy Rock, to present the annual report.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So as he said, my name is Melissa Honeycutt. I'm a realtor with Coastal Properties Groups, and I do represent the Pinellas Realtor Organization. I will not be telling you my age this morning, as many of the youngsters did earlier. I will, however, for those who are in the room and also online, kind of give it a brief overview of Icy Rock, as well as some of the highlights of the 2018 year. So in November 2004, Pinellas County voters approved a referendum to support public schools and have since renewed the referendum 3 times. most recently in 2016. The school board establishes priorities for spending the additional funds, with 80% dedicated to teacher salaries and 20% of the funds to support reading, visual arts, performing arts, and technology. Since referendum's inception, the board established the Independent Citizen Referendum Oversight Committee, which I will forever call Icy Rock from here on out, to function as an advisory group to the school board. Icy Rock meets quarterly to review referendum expenditures and ensure that initiatives are following the intent of the board and the public. Icy Rock includes representatives from the Pinellas Economic Development Council, Concerned Organization for the Quality Education of Black Students, the League of Women Voters, Pinellas Realtor Organization, Pinellas County School Advisory Council Association, the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, and the Pinellas Education Foundation. A lot of Pinellas's in there. Each year, Icy Rock chairperson, myself this year, presents an annual report to the school board and the public. I'll now move into the highlights from 2018. 2018 was the 14th year of the referendum. Each teacher received a $4,400 salary increase, with a total of $29.9 million allocated in the 2017-2018 school year towards recruiting and retaining high-quality teachers. Nearly $10 million was allocated to support the arts, reading, and technology. In the visual arts, 160 field trips for 10,514 students occurred. Mobile art museums visited 32 schools. Every art teacher received discretionary funds to purchase classroom materials, and hundreds of teachers benefited from enhanced professional development. In the performing arts, 68 elementary schools received funding for instruments and equipment. New teachers received enhanced support to ensure a successful start to their careers. High school band uniforms were replaced at 3 schools. In partnership with Florida Orchestra, funds supported the Florida Teaching Artists Initiative, and funding was used for student field trips and performances at the Mahaffey Theater, Ruth Eggert Hall, the Palladium Theater, St. Petersburg College, the St. Petersburg Opera, and other locations. In technology and digital learning, the long-term goal of outfitting every classroom with interactive technology through smart boards and other devices continued. Last year, 410 additional classrooms received new or replacement interactive boards, and hundreds of additional teachers received training and support. The digital learning team also launched the Personalized Learning Pathways, in part through support from the referendum. Lastly, in support of reading, the referendum supported every school with funds to purchase supplemental reading materials for their classrooms. Reading intervention curriculum was purchased and implemented for all 77 elementary schools. Hundreds of teachers attended training specific to the needs of their students and Florida standards, and a student literacy conference was held for secondary students. The funds also supported the book bus and efforts to improve student scores on ACT and SAT. As we look towards continuing referendum implementation, Icy Rock will remain steadfast in providing oversight on these invaluable resources, and will keep the school board and the public informed of the district's process. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for all that you're doing. I see that we have Commissioner Tom Shelley here in
Sure
the
do.
audience from the town of Bel Air. He's been a dear friend for a number of years, and I'm sorry I don't know the other gentleman. Would you like to introduce the other?
This is Travis Norton.
Hi, Mr. Travis Morton. Nice to have you. Thank you so very much for what you do, and I know that these funds are definitely utilized for their intended purpose, which is why the initiative has been voted on consistently by the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, moving on to public comments that are on the agenda item. Ms. Ann, do we have any person signed up?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have one speaker this morning for specific agenda items. Mark Clutho will speak to consent number 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20.
Number 14, Mark Luther Largo. Aerospace. You heard about 2018 and the big increase in the amount of carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere. And all those airplanes going into the sky. Yeah, that's a big part of that. Yeah, that's just wonderful. 16, we have another stupid building. The strategic direction, learning in a safe environment. $18,416,772 for a stupid building that'll be belching carbon. Sick. And here's St. Petersburg High School. You're saying again, the strategic direction, learning in a safe environment. Estimated $32,831,986. Belching the carbon. Oh, sick. And then you're saying you have this substantial completion for the new construction, remodel, and renovation at this Pinellas Technical High School. But what about the technology of passive solar high performance building? How much of that was missed in the construction? What a shame. And then this is just, I love this. The terminology. Substantial completion for the new storefront replacement windows. That tells you how stupid it is. Installing glass down to the ground. Sheer stupidity. Carbon into the atmosphere.
Moving on to our unfinished business. Item number 1, the public hearing to consider the amendment to policy 1590. Dr. Grego?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, this is the second reading of these policy changes. I'd like to ask Ms. Dull to just reintroduce them for the public's sake. All of these policies have been worked on, reviewed by this board during a workshop several weeks ago, and then presented to this board over a month ago here at the first reading, and now is coming back for the second reading. And I understand there's no changes on any of these policies that the board will be faced with today. So, Ms. Dahl?
Good morning, board members, staff, and community members. The first unfinished business we bring forward today is policies number 1590, 3590, and 4590, personnel files. I'd like to start out by reassuring everyone that these policies in practice have always been in place. However, the update for these policies is as a result of the 2018 legislative session, in which wording was added to our policy to codify that if there's a resignation or termination of an employee under an investigation, those notes still remain in the personnel file.
Any questions?
We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Moving on to unfinished business item number 2. Do we have a motion with a second? Dr. Grego?
Yes, ma'am. The second item deals with the District Monitoring and Advisory Committee, as we know it as DMAC, and Mr. Kapersky's been working with this group and this policy also.
Thank you, Dr. Grego, Madam Chair, and board members. The second reading, again, no changes since the first reading. The purpose for these changes in this policy is to reinstitute a constituent organization, the NAACP South County, also known as the NAACP St. Petersburg branch. That also necessitates changing some other technical portions of the policy, such as what constitutes a quorum, now that we have additional members sitting on the group. Those are the only changes. They came to you from DMAC itself. DMAC recommended adding this additional group, which existed originally before they lost their charter. Then they got their charter back. So your vote, if approving it today, will then constitute a readmission into DMAC by that organization.
Understood? Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Ms. Latino?
Yeah, my question, I was present at the last DMAC meeting, and when I asked if there was data related to the summer school program, I understood that there was no data that was submitted. And the person in the Education Committee didn't even request the data to see how much the kindergarten or the early elementary school children would have gained from the data in the May section of the MAP testing, to have some measurement of gain when the program was in the middle of the program or towards the end of the program. But since the discussion has continued, I now have discovered that there has been data that has been submitted, and obviously it was just misappropriated, or we had to dig it out and present it to myself at the school board meeting that we had with Dr. Grego and Mr. Kevin Hendrick. So I just wanted to make that public and to say that there is data for the elementary school children. Thank you.
Thank you. School Board Member Carol Cook?
Yes. Yeah, I support this the policy that has come forward for the second reading, but I would like to actually kind of present an amendment to it. And when we look at all of the people that are, or the organizations that are on the board, it's the, it's the school board, it's the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, it's the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, it's the Pinellas Association of School Administrators. Each one of them is named the official name. And then we go to the NAACP North and NAACP South. So my amendment would be that instead of saying NAACP North or South throughout the entire document, that it say the NAACP St. Petersburg branch or the NAACP Clearwater Upper Pinellas branch, so that we're using the exact title of the organization.
Addressing them appropriately.
Yeah, so I would like to make that as an amendment to the policy.
Do we have a second on that request for an amendment? That's been said, the motion has been first and seconded. Very good catch, and thank you so very much. I'm glad they'll be excited for being identified as two separate branch locations with a singular mission, so that's fabulous.
Throughout the whole.
Throughout the document, to change throughout the document, and any notices that may go out, anything of that nature. Yes, fabulous.
Very good. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't mean to interrupt, so we'll take a vote on that motion and
Yes.
then go back to, thank you.
I was just looking for additional questions, trying to keep it straight. So the first motion, the first vote will be on the amendment to the motion, which is what School Board Member Carol Cook just put forth, making sure that we're identifying both branches of the NAACP by their exact name and title. We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have any that are opposed? Motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Now going back to the initial first motion for passage of the item in its entirety. Do I have a motion with a second, please? Motion. Approved. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all so very much. Fabulous. And item number 3, do we have a motion with a second?
Motion. Second.
Do we have a motion with a second?
All right.
This is on reporting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the third item for policy consideration for second reading is policy 8141, mandatory reporting. Again, Pinellas County Schools has always done this in practice. The language is codifying to make sure it updates through legislative session what misconduct, updates the language of definition. It also adds some reporting requirements. Previous policies said reporting to the Department of Education. It now includes law enforcement. Again, we have always done this in the cases it needs to. And it also adds language for mandatory reporting for the superintendent, which was always in there, and this just adds to law enforcement as applicable or inappropriate. And those are our changes. But there are no changes since first reading.
Do we have any questions or comments by board members? We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Do we have any that oppose? Motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you so very much, Ms. Jennifer Doe, for all that you do. Thank you to the administration for making sure that we're up to date on these. We now have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion with a second?
Move approval.
I'm sorry. Dudley. Mr. Dudley.
Thank you. No, I was going to say I move for.
Oh, you wanted to make a motion. I'm sorry. I thought maybe you wanted to pull something. So there's a motion with a second for the consent agenda items. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do we have any that are opposed? Motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Moving on to non-consent. We have item number 1, request approval of the Schools of Hope Whole School Transformation Grant.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, I'd like to call upon Dr. Felita Grant, Director of Title I. Very pleased that our district was able to receive and secure significant funds to help several of our schools, and I'd like for Dr. Grant to just express the extent of those funds and the use of those funds for the board and the general public.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Felita.
Good morning. Greetings, Dr. Greco, Madam Chairperson Flowers, board members, and staff. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share with you this morning. In August 2018, the Florida Department of Education announced its second round of highly competitive Schools of Hope Whole School Transformation Grants. Only 36 schools across Florida were eligible to apply for the 25 available grants. It is my pleasure to share with you that Pinellas County Schools has been awarded 3 of the 14 that were awarded in the second round Schools of Hope Whole School Transformation Grants in the amount of $2,994,000. The award recipients are Campbell Park, Ponce de Leon, and Sandy Lane Elementary Schools. I truly believe that Pinellas County Schools was selected because of our outstanding results from the first round of Schools of Hope awardees last year. In just 1 year after receiving the Schools of Hope grant, Largo Middle and Mildred Helms Elementary improved their school grade and moved out of the differentiated accountability status. This improvement did not happen by chance. The principals, along with district leadership, parents, and community partners, developed a district-managed turnaround plan that increased student achievement by providing wraparound services that leverage community assets, improve school and community collaborations, and develop family and community partnerships. The Schools of Hope grant was designed to specifically address 6 key areas of assurance in implementing a whole school transformation model. And those key areas of focus are: the school will provide wraparound services that develop family and community partnerships, increase parental involvement and engagement, establish clearly defined high academic and character standards, identify knowledge-rich curriculum that the school will use to focus on developing a student's background knowledge, providing professional development that focuses on academic rigor, direct instruction, and creating high academic standards and character standards. And lastly, identify, recruit, and retain and reward instructional personnel. The PCS application includes, but is not limited to, the following. Number 1, professional development on standards-based instruction, culturally responsive instruction, certified trauma practitioner education, the Marzano instructional framework, and advancement via individual determination, AVID strategies, which some of those may include teacher stipends if the training is occurring outside of the school day at the teacher's hourly rate. Number 2, before and after school programs to support students' academic needs, including scholarships for winter break, spring break, and Thanksgiving breaks. Number 3, supplemental full-time family and community liaisons and/or family relations coordinators to work and expand our family outreach,
oversee a family and community resource center at the schools, and expand community and business partnership opportunities. Number 4, supplemental social workers, guidance counselors, or MTSS coaches to expand and enhance student support services such as chronic absenteeism or homelessness. Number 5, supplemental classroom teachers to lower teacher-pupil ratio and to provide focused support to our Tier 2 and Tier 3 scholars. And number 6, resources for standards-based culturally responsive teaching, family workshops, and other character education programs. District staff will continue to collaborate, guide, and provide hands-on support to our school teams as they each work towards high levels of implementation with their School of Hope activities, as we have a strong belief that they will assist in increasing learner outcomes and teacher effectiveness. Again, we are very, very excited to have been awarded all 3 that we competed for and to have the additional funding for the students and staff at Campbell Park, Sandy Lane, and Ponce de Leon. And I thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share with you our great news.
That is fabulous news. We have a motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No one would oppose that. $2 million, $2.9 million. Congratulations. Thank you so very much. And all of the schools are doing a wonderful job. I know Kathleen Parker over there at Campbell Park Elementary School is doing a wonderful job, and the community is coming out and they're gaining volunteers and mentors for the students. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.
Madam Chair, again, pardon for the interruption. I did not catch a motion. So could...
She made the motion. She said, see, and okay. All right. I'm on it. All right. I'm on it. I got it. But I thank you for keeping me in order. Request approval of Pinellas County Schools Mental Health Awareness Training Program. Do we have a motion with a second? Motion. Second. Dr. Grego?
Thank you. I want to call upon Donna Sicilian to describe to the board, I mean, some of these items I'm just really excited about, not only the Schools of Hope, but also the mental health awareness training that Donna and her team have done. I think this is really the essence of what I want to make sure the public also hears too. So,
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chairman, school board members, Dr. Grego, staff. I'm thrilled to come up here today and talk to you about, it's actually 2 federal grants that we are receiving. One is new and one is a 5th year that's in its final, entering its final and 5th year. So the Project Aware, which is the State Education Agency C grant, was awarded on September 30th in 2014, and it will conclude in September of this year. And I think this is a great example of the work that we've been doing in Pinellas County for years prior to Senate Bill 7026. We have the second grant, which is the mental health education grant, that was new money that came down from the federal government to support the work that we're doing, and we've received that grant as well. So this will be the first year for that grant. Just want to highlight for you some of the things that we've been doing and that we're going to continue doing, and the work that we will sustain even after these grants are gone. So there are really 3 primary goals for Project Aware, which is the year 5 grant that we're entering into. Those are to increase mental health awareness, increase the use of evidence-based practices with regard to mental health, and increase the access to care. And so I thought I would just highlight for you briefly a couple of things under each of those goals that we've been accomplished and that we're continuing to work on. So under increasing mental health awareness, as you know, several of you have heard me talk through the last 5 years about youth mental health first aid. Youth mental health first aid is a research-based curriculum that we have used, and our goal is to kind of saturate our schools and our entire community. It's sort of like CPR for mental health. It teaches lay people how to identify concerns and keep people safe and link them to appropriate services. So far, we have 20 certified youth mental health first aid trainers, and these are some of our school counselors, psychologists, and social workers. So the grant has paid for them to become national certified trainers. And in my looking across the state and talking to colleagues, I think we have more than any other district has, which has allowed us to train more staff than any other district. So to date, we have 1,971 people that have completed this 8-hour certification course in youth mental health first aid. At the request of schools, we did develop a shorter awareness training that's 3 hours that sort of whets the appetite. So a lot of times what we'll see is people will say, well, rather than 8 hours, can we get the brief overview? We do the 3 hour and then they're sign me up for the 8-hour course. So that has worked out really well. We have provided trauma-informed care training to 3,958 Pinellas County School employees, which ties along with what Dr. Grant just shared with you in the Schools of Hope. In addition to that, we have collaborated with our health teachers, and we actually wrote, the staff through Project Aware actually wrote curriculum and lesson plans that are being implemented in 7th grade health classes that focus on mental health awareness so that students recognize and know what to do and how to respond to their peers. In terms of the increased use of evidence-based practices, we have really focused on Tier 1 and Tier 2 practices, including expanding the national Oveus bullying prevention services that we offer here as a district. We also have been very, very involved, and Vicki Kohler in particular, who's one of the leads with Project Aware, has been incredibly helpful in the implementation of the Sandy Hook Promise programs and the continuum of training and the apps that we are implementing in our district. That has been a real champion of Project Aware as well. We've also supported I've talked with you at the workshop in the spring, I think it was, about the mental health rubrics that each school completed in the video, and that was all done through the Project Aware grant. And we've also done a large rollout of a curriculum that's another national research-based Tier 2 curriculum called Why Try, that really focuses on students and helping them to engage and some of the social emotional learning aspects. And then finally, just some of the things that we've done that have increased access to care, that has really been a focus with our partners in the community. We have a bi-monthly implementation team with Project Aware and many of our community partners. We have assisted in several MOUs, including with PACE Center for Girls. PACE Center for Girls are now providing therapists on 2 of the campuses of our middle schools, and this year they have served 33 families, not just the student, but their family. You probably remember last May, and you'll see again this May, that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we sort of took the lead through Project Aware to make sure that activities recognizing that were done throughout our schools and our community. And just overall, we have spent a great deal of effort in the community to work together collaboratively to get the synergy between what we're doing as a district with regard to mental health and all of the efforts that we have in our community, that we're working together, we're linking, and we really have that laser focus to improve not only our students, but the family and the communities to make us safe and happy and whole. So I think I'm very excited about adding the MHAT grant, which really is an expansion of youth mental health first aid training. And so we will be able to continue to, we're going to have even more trainers certified because this will sustain us in the years and really decades to come, and also the materials that are necessary because there is a cost involved. So I'm very excited, and I appreciate so much, and I know you join me in appreciating the staff's work over the last 5 years and as we move forward. So thank you for your support.
One that opposes? Motion carries unanimously with a 7-0 vote. Thank you so very much, Ms. Donna, for all that you do and your staff. I took the 8-hour training, and it was a very good training, and I had some other people take the training as well. It's nice to know that you have the 3 hours short to whet the appetite, so I think that's really good as well. Thank you all so very much. Moving on to new business, items introduced by the superintendent.
We have one other.
Oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. See, I was doing well until he got me jittery. Yeah, he was doing well until he got me jittery. Request, and thank you so much, Ms. School Board Member Latino. Request approval of the Community Intern Partnership Agreement with Pinellas County Government.
Yes, Madam Chair, I want to ask Mark, this is an exciting partnership. Whenever we partner, and in this case with our Pinellas County government, and where we can benefit students, I'm always really excited. And I always want to publicly thank our partners, such as the county government with this. So Mark, if you could explain briefly what this work-based experience is about.
Absolutely. This agreement is for internship opportunities for high school students and Pinellas Technical College students to participate in work experiences at Pinellas County government's maintenance department, fleet maintenance. It's one of two internship agreements we have so far with Pinellas County government. The other one our school board approved last school year for veterinary assisting students to participate at some of the county-run animal shelter facilities. This expands our opportunities for students to new areas, gives them the opportunity to see the broader scope of county government. It's not just the elected politicians that run our county or our cities. There's everything from maintenance all the way through business operations and computer. You know, currently in our district, we have over 600 students every year that participate in some type of work-based or workplace experience. And that ranges everything from job shadowing through paid work experience, clinical agreements or clinical experiences for our health occupation students at medical facilities, and of course internships. So kids get an opportunity to see a wide variety of different kinds of occupations and the broader picture. Some examples of some of the internship locations that we had last year: Baycare, Florida Hospital, BCH Mechanical, King Contracting, Duke Energy, Brandis Construction, the Humane Society, Achieva Credit Union, Tampa International Airport, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, Pinellas Park Police, and of course Pinellas County Schools. We have some of our students that are doing internships in our classrooms for Summer Bridge and things like that. We have currently nearly 800 business partners that provide some type of work site experience for students of all ages, mostly high school students. And this agreement expands that and gives us a broader opportunity. You know, you heard some kids, or students, I call them kids, students mentioned earlier today how valuable that experience of an internship with Pinellas Park Police was for them in developing their career aspirations and also their life skills, you know, how to interact with adults and with others. So these are very valuable experiences, and we're so glad that our business partners come together and help us provide these opportunities for students.
Fabulous. Thank you so very much. I think that's really good. Excellent experience, and then possibly employment after the internship, because they'll already know their way of work. So we need a motion with a second. Do we have a motion with a second, please?
I had a question.
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't see your light. Ms. Lentino has a question.
Right. You have in the background here either environment either as a paid or an unpaid intern. And my question here is how many of the students have come on for their second or third year as an intern or a paid intern? I mean, is there a budget in the, in the system for this, for maybe a person who's been successful in their first year as an intern and then coming on second time as a second year paid person, or not, not $15 an hour, but something?
Well, the paid opportunity is typically one where the employer says, gee whiz, this student does a really great job. I'd like to bring them on as a paid intern to encourage them to come back for the second year. Usually an internship is a fairly short duration kind of thing, 3 or 4 weeks, something of that nature. We are working on a summer internship program this coming summer that you'll hear about at the next board workshop, where we have had some grant funds provided by partners
Oh, good.
that will help us pay a stipend to student interns with some other things. But mostly the paid opportunity comes from the employer.
Oh, okay.
You asked how many students transition from the first experience to a second.
Right.
You know, it's not a huge percentage, probably in the 20% that actually achieve a paid experience with that same employer.
Right.
But it provides that student a lot of knowledge and awareness about what it is they really want to do and how they want to pursue a career path after that first experience.
Oh, good information. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Passes with a 7-0 vote. Thank you so very much again, Mr. Hunt, for all you're doing. Okay, now moving on to new business
Yes,
items
ma'am.
introduced by Superintendent.
Madam Chair and school board members, first of all, Happy New Year to you. This is our first board meeting of the 2019 year, and I certainly hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and it's great to be back at work. I want to start out with something we left off with right before the winter break, and that is it's the Department of Education, the state, provided us what our graduation rate was for the 2018. It might seem a little bit long after the graduations in last June, but it takes the state that amount of time to submit that to each of the districts. So, as I reported, and very proud to report, a record high of 86%, an all-time high of our school district, and most importantly, that we increased our graduation rate across all subgroups in our district. I want to start out by our Hispanic subgroup, and we've essentially eliminated the graduation gap between our Hispanic graduates and our non-Hispanic graduates. Our Hispanic graduation rate now is at 85% across the district. It increased just last year at 3.7%, which was a tremendous percentage increase. And since 2012 and 13, our Hispanic students have increased 22.4%. Which is extremely significant. Many people to thank and certainly recognize along that, not just individuals within our ESOL department, but we're really school leaders at the elementary, middle, and senior high level. When we look at our Bridging the Gap plan, we're seeing movement of closing the gap, and for the first time in several years, some of the strategies are not only taking traction, but having the results that we desire. Our African American students increased their graduation rate just under 7% in a single year, 6.9%. And their graduation rate now is at an all-time high of 76.2%. And since 2012-13, that same time period, it's a 19.8, just under a 20% increase for our black students. And just as important, we've closed the gap between black and non-black students by 4.6%, which is if you remember our Bridging the Gap plan, we set a progression of what we need to. Some will be higher and lower over a 10-year span to absolutely eliminate the graduation gap, as I'm proud to report with our Hispanic students subgroup, and we're moving very quickly to that with our African American subgroup. But not to be left out, the graduation rate for our students with disabilities increased by 5.4% to 72.5. District's all-time high. Our English language learners was increased by 14.7%. And so over the last 5 or 6 years, when we compare our district to other districts in the state, we have outpaced those districts in terms of our African American students, Hispanic students, exceptional student education, or students with disabilities, and our English language learners. And some of the most challenging but really fragile types of populations in terms of our EL population. So I'm very pleased with the progress that we're making. I also want to recognize this board, as in every district strategic plan, graduation rate is right up and to the top, and we push ourselves to really not settle for 1 or 2, but really push ourselves for 4% percentage point increases. And when we do that, I really believe we continue to stretch ourselves. I know Dr. Vasquez is in the audience, and she's in the back. She's kind of led and championed this effort of our graduation, and just ask that she stand and be recognized. And just thank you very much. I know during our workshop next Tuesday, we'll bring a brief update in terms of some of the really what I consider successful strategies that we're using that we need to continue to expand upon, modify, and learn from so that we continue this rate. So our goal is to hit a 90% graduation rate by the year 2020, and we're well on our way, and we ought to continue to set our sights very, very high. We also had a tremendous meeting this past Thursday with our principals, understanding that the way we're going to get to that 90% is to really build strong level students at the elementary and middle school, and that this is not solely a high school statistic, but rather it's a K or pre-K through 12 statistic, and that the stronger prepared the students are for middle school, the stronger prepared students are for high school, the easier the graduation from 9th grade to that 12th grade year. So a lot of things are happening. We're going to discuss this a little bit more in our workshop, though, next Tuesday. I want to remind the public and to this board that our district application program is fully underway. It's been very successful. So far, so good. Bill Lawrence, Ellen Trakowski has done a fabulous job. The application program, I believe, closes this Friday. It was open from January 9th through the 18th, and so thank you to that office and to our many parents and others who are exploring various options that make that connection between their students and the school. Also, we're in the middle of what you see in the marquees throughout this school district is Ready, Set, Kindergarten. And that is yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our schools are open, various schedules. Every elementary school picked a day to say, come on in and let us showcase and let us talk to you about the points of pride of our elementary school. If you have a child that's coming in to kindergarten, we want you to look at us, and we want you to explore our programs, our facilities, our staff, and let us show off to you, and let us become, let us get to know you and you us. It's a scary time, especially if it's your first time where you're dropping a child off for kindergarten. We want that time to be totally relaxing and comfortable with students coming to Pinellas County Schools. I want to thank the board, and especially I want to always shout out to Achieve Credit Union for 25 plus years of sponsoring the Support Employee of the Year. I want to thank our board is so supportive of all of these types of programs. I know some of you are going to make comments on this, so I'll refrain from making too many, but just thank Mr. Rangoli and the credit union for their support. And also just a quick thanks and congratulations to Tony Langhorn, who is the person who will represent all of our support employees in the state of Florida. But really, as you would agree, all of those nominees were tremendous individuals. As mentioned before and was highlighted in our video, I am very excited about what the foundation and the school district's doing for the educator, a Teacher of the Year. As you know, board members, in the past, the Teacher of the Year, Evening of Excellence, has been a shared platform, that of business and teaching. And this year, as you know, the foundation took the business recognition and put it separate, and we've already had that. And so the Evening of Excellence this year at the Mahaffey is solely the Academy Awards for teaching. And I'm so excited about that. We've grown that program over the last 5 years, and I ask our principals and many others to come out and support the Evening of Excellence for Teaching. And it's going to be all about teachers. Each and every nominee from all of our 128 schools that had a nominee will have tickets for the principal, the nominee, and a guest. And I'm asking others to come. Let's fill the Mahaffey Theater. Let's celebrate the teaching profession. Let's celebrate our teachers, because each and every one of them that were nominated represent the tremendous work that teachers do throughout this district, and that's what that's about. So there might be one person at the end representing our district, but it truly is a celebration of the teaching profession. So the foundation has developed kind of goodie bags and many others that I hope that at the end of the day, those teachers feel valued, and that's what it's all about. I had the pleasure of last Friday to attend the opening night of the 14th annual Journeys in Journalism. What a magnificent show, and I know some of you might make comments of that, so I'll stop. But just to thank the Melrose, Johns Hopkins, and Lakewood articulation of Journey in Journalism. Thank you to the Tampa Bay Times for their continued support. Crystal Pruitt, who is the Journey in Journalism's chair. Gretchen Letterman, who continues to chair the advisory committee even after her retirement. It's truly a gathering of tremendous talent centered around journalism, and our students walking around with those cameras and all those others. And there were a lot of, if you still can get down there, I think they have tomorrow night, Wednesday, they will host a Taste of Midtown and beyond from 5 to 8 p.m. I'm going to put a plug in for this event, and guests will be able to sample the cuisine from the local restaurants while they view, and you can certainly purchase some of the photographs that our students are taking. So great event, a great way of celebrating. The mayor was there, many other people were there, just to center and to say thank you to our students. Thank you to Madeira Beach Fundamental. We're going to, next Tuesday, talk a lot about mental health and the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, the initial report that came out. So I'll save those comments. But as you know, this board was working on the Sandy Hook Promise prior to even the incident last February, and we continue to grow with that say something, see something, say something, and just start with a hello week. We had tremendous success with that campaign. And as it is, Madeira Beach Fundamental was a grand prize winner of a contest that was held nationally with over 3,200 schools for a contest for see something, say something, or start with hello. And so their team is being recognized at the National Sandy Hook Promise Conference. The website's going to feature Madeira Beach Fundamental, so we're really, really proud. This is a huge organization that people are engaged with, and congrats to Chris Atik and Donna Sicilian, who you heard from before, and kind of working and steering and promoting these types of campaigns. I want to thank, and I know Mike Gandolfo is in the audience. I want to thank Mike as president, Mr. Gandolfo as president of the PCTA. As you know, we've communicated to this board that we've reached a tentative agreement with the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, and I couldn't be happier to do that. Our teachers are so deserving, as I mentioned. This board, though, I want to also say this, to thank this board, because this board and the increased costs that we're faced with, whether it be inflationary or Florida retirement system or health care, this board has chosen to pay approximately 86% of the increase of the district's health care, and more of this will come when we truly, hopefully, ratify and this board approves it. But I want to thank you on behalf of the teachers and behalf of the PCTA for your support of this. This board also has agreed to pay $1.9 million of the increase of the Florida retirement system that's being placed onto the system, rather than passing that on to the employees of our school district. So with these two combined, the tentative agreement calls for a 3.55% increase for our teachers. And as I said, I'm very excited. I want to thank you, Mr. Gandolfo, for your support. It also talks about contractual language, working conditions, and I'm very pleased that we're able to work through these types of arrangements so that we can get our teachers and have our teachers happier, and we want our teachers to be satisfied in terms of what we're doing, and certainly the reimbursements or the salaries that they so deserve. I want to also thank Paula Texel, Lori Dard, Kevin Smith, for serving as some of the lead along with the entire negotiating team, as well as the PCTA for your work too. And so we'll bring more of this back. It is anticipated that we will be coming back, I think in the February 12th board meeting for hopefully vote, and so we'll keep you apprised of that. As I mentioned before, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas initial report, Mr. Herbeck has provided you a hard copy of that, I believe, in a notebook form, as well as if you want an electronic, but sometimes reading through that thing electronically, I'm not asking you to necessarily read it. Some of you might want to. It's very detailed, but the reality of it is public information, and I want you to really keep you apprised of what's happening. We had a very successful meeting yesterday with the sheriff and some of his leaders, as well as Mr. Herbeck and Chief Luke Williams and Bill Corbett and myself, who went over there and discussed a lot of the findings, a lot of what we're doing as a school district. And I could say to you that we're continuing to stay ahead of everything. We continue to use the state's resources to make wise purchases, and purchases that we believe and the sheriff believes and law enforcement believes is going to have a great return on investment instead of frivolous stuff. We will continue to meet as an association of superintendents with a small group of sheriffs in the next few weeks in terms of understanding just the relationships. Schools are schools, law enforcement is law enforcement, but we're entering a new day where we need to kind of understand each other's world a little bit more. But I want to say thank you to Sheriff Galtieri in terms of all that we've been really able to do in the last under a year when you think about it as we approach the anniversary of February 14th. And so we'll continue to communicate. I'll keep this board apprised of that. We do have this on the agenda along with some mental health issues. We should always tie these two together, in my opinion, and one should not be without the other. So we'll have that in the board workshop for a week from today, and you'll see that in your board workshop material. Just to keep the board informed, I will be traveling to Tallahassee late Thursday, Friday. We're spending the day with a small group of superintendents to prepare for the legislative session and some of the things in the bills that are coming out. And so that's where I'll certainly be accessible to you. As session is beginning, and I know the Florida School Board Association is starting their work, and I certainly get their correspondence also. So that concludes my report. Happy New Year again to the board members, and it's a pleasure to be back.
Thank you very much. Do we have any items to be introduced by our board attorney?
Blessedly no.
Okay, that's a good thing. Always a good thing. Items introduced by the board. I see Ms. Lentino's light, and Ms. Cook, and then Ms. Long.
Yes, well, I've been busy, very busy. I did attend Ben Diamond's open house, and I had a good conversation with him very briefly about education, and it was very fulfilling, and he listened, and he didn't say anything back, and but we had a good one-sided conversation. And I also was at Happy Workers on Friday from 10 o'clock till 12:30, helping those little pre-K students. Ms. Bridget is always very welcoming, and the teachers that are in the classroom are always willing to let me give a lesson, read 2 books, go outside, run around, and have lunch with the children as well. I also attended Wengay Newton's barbecue at Del Holmes Park. That was just a great experience, and it was kind of chilly, but it was very worthwhile. Great ribs, great chicken, everything that you would want. Lunch Pals was another event that I attended over at Raymond James Complex. It was very interesting. The whole place was full. There wasn't a seat left in the house. And people were really eager to share their feelings about the questions that they would ask children or they would not ask children, and the comments that children would come back with them about their emotional level of how they would want to deal with some of these conversations that they would have with Take Stock in Children, or the Lunch Pals, rather. Mr. Diner, is that his name?
Ron Diner.
Yeah, he was very encouraging, and he wanted everybody to bring a guest, and I think everybody did. I visited Central Park Elementary School, and that was a very worthwhile experience because I had visited in Tarpon Springs the principal, who then was at Lakewood, and then who was also transferred up to Pinellas Central Elementary School. The children there it's an open concept classroom. We have pre-K. We had many pre-K children in the classroom of that school and many kindergarten children. They were all on task. There wasn't anything that was disruptive while I was in the classroom, and it was a really good visit. The COQUEBS meeting was another good conversation that we had, and there was a lot of discussion about how are we closing the achievement gap, and how are we bridging the gap with early elementary schools. Pastor Williams, I had a meeting with him from the church that he is a pastor of, and we had a good conversation, and he invited me to the second Saturday of the month at the All-State Center. And when we were at the All-State Center, that was dealing with women on the move, men on the move. We had 2 separate groups. I showed up at 9 o'clock, had a quick breakfast, and then we went into the instruction of Miss Irby, who was a daughter of the gentleman who's in the police department, Pastor Irby, and she lined out the, very interestingly enough, the public speaking module. And we had middle, we had high school, and we had elementary school children. There were 25 children there. So she did a real good introduction. We went off, broke into groups. We discussed what we were going to read. We were going to talk about things that we have our goals for, and other ideas as well. We also read some poetry too. So that was very interesting. Everybody in that group had a chance. And then we went into the vision project. And that was where we had magazines, we had pictures, we had glitter, we had all kinds of materials to use to base what we felt our vision of ourselves was like. And I definitely also did the project. I didn't, you know, I went through the whole program with the students, so that was it was very thoughtful. Pastor Williams came in, he brought me over to where the gentlemen were, and it was, Chief Williams was there as well, and it was a good experience for me to get familiar with that community, because it was a lot more children in that community than it was in my Gulfport Elementary classroom that I was teaching, doing letter sounds and simple words, and also trying to build the gap to get our children on task so we could build these children in kindergarten and get them focused so that they can continue to move on and be at reading level by 3rd grade. When I was there last Thursday, they were doing testing. And these little children, with not having computers at home, the technology escapes them. So, you know, we put the passcodes in, and we put their letter recognition names in, and you know, they were really kind of lost. You know, they were kind of lost. But some of these high flyers, they just went right through it, because they were adapted to the technology of the computer in the technology industry. I went to the YMCA, the pre-K open house, and Lori Matway was there, Charlie Justice was there. It was a good crowd of people that were there. We had a quick breakfast, and then we toured the building. And the building is all brand new. We have way too many, from my point of view, we had way too many things in the room. You know, everything, every surface was covered with things, you know. But I kept my mouth shut, and I just moved on. So anyway, Women in the Making was one good opportunity. That was really great. And then they did the vision boards, and then we had lunch. And then yesterday I met with a student, the Take Stock in Children, one student that I meet there every Monday. She's a high flyer, and she's focusing on her grades right now. And it was an important program from the Take Stock in Children program that I participate in. And then I also do participate in the Foster Children's Program as a volunteer on Wednesdays from 9 to 12. I didn't make it last Wednesday because we had the support staff person of the year recognized, and that was a wonderful wonderful opportunity for Mr. Rigoli to have funded the luncheon. And it was a very good opportunity. We had great food, and we had good camaraderie, and it was very, very fulfilling. And then we had a great opportunity to be at the, here we go. Can you see that? No, you can't. Well, anyway, this is my shirt that I bought from the Melrose, John Hopkins, and Lakewood art exhibit. That was a very overwhelming experience for me. I purchased a shirt, I purchased a photograph. The children have an exceptional eye when they want to look at what they're really going to put on paper. It was really interesting. Dr. Grego was there, Mayor Kreisman was there, and also Crystal Pruitt, who I would like to acknowledge her help for putting all this together. It was a great experience, you know, it's always fulfilling when you can go and see what the kids are doing, whether it's Melrose, Lakewood, and John Hopkins, because I think those three schools are really important, and they all had their separate areas to display their artwork. So I thought it was a real good opportunity for me to see what was going on. I think that's just about it for me. I was really satisfied to see the Melrose kids that were doing the photography, and it was really heartwarming for me to be there. And I think that's my report.
Thank you. I have Ms. Cook, Ms. Long, and then Mr. Dudley.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make mine very short. I think it seems like everybody hit the ground running when we came back. And it's hard to believe it's only been a week. You know? But I want to highlight just a couple of things. One of them is the Journeys in Journalism and that event that went on Friday night. It is an outstanding exhibition and things that the students do. It's amazing that elementary school students are producing the work that they are, and that the high school students have continued to build on it year after year. So I would encourage everyone to attend. I was fortunate enough to be able to buy one and have the students sign it because he happened to be there. And so I'm going to be able to say I knew this kid win. So anyway, but I would really encourage people to go visit, see it. It's at 620 First Avenue South, and the exhibit will be there for a couple of weeks. I don't know the exact dates on it, but I would encourage you to do that. The second thing is I want to recognize Dr. Grego and point out that on Friday he was awarded by the Florida Music Educators Association the Outstanding Educator. Outstanding Superintendent. So I want to congratulate you for that. In addition, he was able to address the group, all of the educators that were from all over the state. I think they said there were something like 11,000 people that attended this conference. It's huge over in Tampa. And after he spoke, our superintendent received a standing ovation for what he said and how he grasps the understanding of the importance of the arts and what it does for student achievement, as well as creating well-rounded students and well-rounded adults as a result of that. And so his, I believe it's going to be online for the speech that he gave. So if any of you want to see it, it would be on the website for the Florida Music Educators Association. And Gene Reynolds would be able to give us the official website if y'all are interested. But he did an outstanding job, not only representing Pinellas County, because we were very proud. Lisa Kane was also there. Board member Lisa Kane was there. And so not only did he make us proud as Pinellas County, I think he made everybody there pleased that people understood the value of the arts. So those were the two big highlights that I wanted to point out. But there were a lot of things that a lot of us are doing. So I appreciate all that the people are doing on the, what do you have? Oh, you got a picture?
My daughter was there.
Oh, okay. Board member Dudley's daughter was there and sent him a picture of Dr. Grego speaking.
Fabulous.
See, and we knew him when also. So,
That's
anyway,
fabulous.
So, thank you.
Thank you for noting those two very momentous things. Ms. Long, School Board Member Long.
This is my last opportunity to invite you all. This Saturday morning at 8 a.m. will be our very first annual Martin Luther King breakfast at First United Methodist Church in Tarpon Springs. The breakfast will be made and served by Jacobson Culinary Arts Program at Tarpon Springs. The parade is going to include Tarpon High School, Palm Harbor High School Marching Band, and Gibbs Marching Band, along with the band out of Tampa. This year we're calling it Hands Holding Tarpon, because what I've really pushed, and the committee has pushed, is that no school district, no community stands alone. We have to work together. And that was Dr. King's dream. And we're losing that message. So this year, I'm excited. I hope the weather helps us. Last year it was so cold, no one could enjoy themselves. It was pretty bad, but the weather forecast looks great. Come enjoy a wonderful family day. I think it is going to be an absolutely wonderful event. I hope the young people, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds even, not just our school-age children, but will become passionate again and keep this committee growing, because we're definitely getting older and we need young people. So thank you.
Fabulous. School Board Member Dudley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about our athletic programs in Pinellas County. I appreciate all the work we do in academics and all. That's obviously main focus, but there's so much that goes on over and above that. We have so many coaches and mentors that continue to teach outside of the classroom, you know, on the athletic fields and the gyms and all that. And if you haven't attended an athletic contest at a high school, I would strongly encourage you to do so. We have right now, we're finishing up basketball, wrestling, soccer, flag football, and baseball, softball, and track will be starting up soon. They can always use people to help, especially in track meets where they need volunteers to help run the events. But this is one of the greatest teaching tools that we have for young men and women. You know, we teach them how to do math, and we teach them history and science, but, you know, athletics is a great place to teach kids about the other parts of life. And, you know, I did it for 38 years, and I have seen so many kids change as a result of that, of my involvement. They need your support. If you want to come and just be entertained, many, many great athletes, some not so good, but they're there, and it's very meaningful to them.
He said it, yes he did.
And I really think that we need to really fully support our extracurricular. And that includes the productions they do in the auditoriums, the plays, and the musicals. You know, it's very disheartening when I go to athletic events or to a stage production in high school, and I look and see, you know, 1/3 of the auditorium filled. I mean, these kids are putting their hearts and soul into it. School system, you know, we think it's a value, and that's why we offer it. And I would encourage those of you listening to please make an effort when there's a game or an activity and you're looking for some real cheap entertainment, go and do it. And I'm off my soapbox now, and I hope you all will take it to heart. Thank you.
Thank you. School Board Member Dr. Carr.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Dudley, for bringing up our athletes. I know we lost a pioneer in Title IX just at the beginning of this year, and the influence of sports on our students and the relationships they're able to bring out. So I'd like to express gratitude to our student services team for the support that they provided leading up to the new year. As a parent, we worry about our children and the different situations they might face in our schools, and I'm grateful to know that when there are issues and concerns, we have teams to respond to them. And I really appreciate the work, and I know how touching that can be to those individuals, so thank you for that. I also wanted to thank all the teachers who are working so hard to implement those Sandy Hook promise and the trauma-informed practices as well as Project Aware, because it oftentimes does take us out of our comfort zone. And I recognize that after visiting some schools and hearing from students and families how these activities are coming home and generating conversations in the home. So I really wanted to emphasize the importance of us developing those critical interpersonal skills. So thank you to those involved in making that happen, as well as those involved both as mentors, coaches, and some of our unsung mentors, the folks who work in our building, as we witnessed to in our support services award ceremony, for fostering those very positive relationships, both between students and with the children themselves. So thank you to those involved in those pieces, and I really appreciate that as a parent, knowing that those services are so instrumental and critical and being put forward in our district. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And I just have a few things. The first is today is actually Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Word, in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger. Man, it's the fun, but acknowledging the purpose of the man. So thank you, School Board Member Long, for what you do and the work that all of North County has done to really bring back the vibrancy of the MLK events and activities. And I would have to say, as a member of the National Council of Negro Women, we will continue to raise the standards when it comes to acknowledging and reminding the youth in our community for what the day is. It is a day on, not a day off. It's a day to commemorate and to provide service to mankind, not to relax or think that we have made it because we still have work to do. I had an opportunity to attend the Emancipation Proclamation services held on January 1st of every year. The thing that was special about it this year is that the youth from our community actually ran the Emancipation service, not the adults. So a few of our students from Lakewood High School, Mr. Jalen White and others, actually ran the entire program, and there was a young adult who actually provided the message for that day. And the message was love. It was just focusing on that. And if you can see the love in a person, then you have no room or time in your heart for hatred or bullying. Or the new president is Reverend J.C. Pritchett. But the forum is really a book that we have for our legislative briefing. I utilized that and just gave information because sometimes we don't get a chance to get our story out. So a lot of people didn't know all of the wonderful things that we're doing. Work yet to come, but that we're doing some really wonderful things. Maria Scruggs was there from the NAACP. Ricardo Davis represented CoQuebs. Commissioner Ken Welch represented the Pinellas County Commission. Askil Muhammad Akil represented the Muslim Interfaith Community. And Lisa Willaboma represented the city of St. Petersburg. So I'm looking forward to the next charrette roundup, and I will make sure I share that information with you guys. If you would like to come, we'd love for you to be available. I want to say thank you to a very special student. She stepped out of her comfort zone to provide assistance and aid to her fellow school members, and that's Lauren Latimer. She's a student at Lakewood High School, and she has established and set up a food pantry for students who need help. When you're in high school, it's kind of difficult to say, I don't have food at home. It's kind of difficult to say, you know, my lights are off and things of that nature. But Lauren has been able to work with some teachers that helped her. There's a special room set up. Everything is done anonymously. The bags that they carry the food home in is not recognizable. It's done so that students can come in and come out. Others don't see. So it's done with a sense of respect. So I look forward to what is to come from that. But if you want to donate anything to that food pantry, please contact Lakewood High School. The principal there is Erin Monroe Savage. She can tell you how to get the donations and the contributions there. I want to say congratulations to our new representative, Jennifer Webb. She is serving on the K-12 Education Committee. She's serving as the ranking minority member. I've already reached out to her to say, hey, thank you so very much for serving, and we need to talk. So she responded and said, great, because I'd love to get some information so that I can have that when we're talking in our committee meetings. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited that Chris Latvala is the chair of the K through 12 Education Committee. And so I know that we've had some waves, but we're willing to get past those waves and see the sun shine on the other side. And so I look forward to communicating with him and everybody with our legislative delegation, reminding them of the discussion that we had in our joint meeting and just trying to garner their support. We know we have new leadership for the Secretary of Education, but I am willing to put in the work, and so is everybody else, I am sure. I'd also like to announce that CoCrebs is holding their Baby Talk workshop. So that's going to be February 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the John Hopkins, I keep wanting to say all children's, at the John Hopkins Auditorium at 701 4th Street. Our club provides free daycare. So for any parents that want to come and you have children between the ages of 2 and 12, that need someone to watch after them while you're attending the Baby Talk workshop, please do, because the child care is free. That's all that I have. Just wanted to share some of those announcements, some of the wonderful things that are going on. Students, like the gentleman said, 5 months, so now it's the itch for seniors, and we know that they're feeling it, but we want you to stay focused. We want you to stay focused because we want to be able to shake your hand when you walk across that stage, receiving your high school diploma and starting the next phase of your wonderful, wonderful life, which will be college, career, and beyond. And I have Miss Kane, who pressed her light.
Thank you all so much. I just wanted to say I was greatly honored to be in attendance at the Florida Music Educators Association conference this past week, where I got to see Dr. Grego honored as Superintendent of the Year for support of the arts. This evening, the PTA and PTSA have joined together to put on the Reflections annual awards ceremony reception that will be held at Pinellas Park High School. I will be in attendance this evening to speak on the importance of arts and honoring the heroes around me, which is the theme of this year's event. Students from across the county have submitted works of art to the theme, Heroes Around Me. So we will see how the arts have affected students across our county and how they have reflected that in their amazing pieces. So I'm excited to be in attendance this evening. If you have the availability or the time, I highly suggest that you come out and support our student art and support all that they, the passion that they have put into each and every piece. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, and thank you so much for bringing a focus and attention on that, and thank you for being the speaker for this evening. I know you'll do a wonderful job. You'll knock it out of the park. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any items introduced? I'm sorry, review of board requests. Review of board requests.
Madam Chair, I have no board requests recorded today.
Don't smile. All right, thank you so much. So we are going to have our school board evaluation after the meeting. I will adjourn the meeting, and then we will most certainly look to Ms. Ann for anyone who signed up to speak on items that were not on the agenda. That will be followed up by our school board meeting evaluation. So I will adjourn the meeting. And Ms. Ann, do we have any speakers?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have 2 speakers barely this morning because it's almost noon. We have Talmadge Andrews and Mark Clutho.
Good morning. How are y'all doing? Well, basically, almost afternoon. Basically, I'm here as SEIU, Florida Public Service Union. We have a new board, well, a new chapter chair, which she has just left, is named Becky Dean, and she is looking forward to starting off on a good foot by working with you. Some of you have met her since the beginning of the meeting. I have just 2 things I would like to say. Basically, I have 2 support staff employees that are going through some problems, and they have not had those issues mainly addressed. One is a school bus driver. That driver has a student that learned how to get off the bus during bus evacuation drill. He was taught basically how to do it in an emergency situation, and that student uses that opportunity to get off the bus where he desires. So those are that situation has to be looked into and extensively found out that this kid cannot be jeopardizing the students on the bus, the driver and himself, and the driving public as he gets on and off the bus. Also, I have another one that's dealing with a support staff person at one of the schools. He's what they call a night lead. His HBO, which works in the daytime, doesn't leave information or projects for him to get through, and the principal then in turns confronts him why these things are not done. It's circumventing the whole thing of following progressive discipline, not progressive, but chain of command. Basically, if she has something to do, she gives it to the HBO. HBO then distributes it out to the support staff that are there with them. So at this time, during the summer, he supposed to have painted some part of the school building. The HBO did not put any of the equipment out. The principal came to him and said, why hasn't it been done? This is stuff that's supposed to have been done because we're having company coming and we needed this situation resolved. Come to find out, the HBO did not even go and get the material, or he didn't bring enough of the material for the school to get that situation addressed and done. So basically, we are support staff. We support the school. And one of your agenda items, and I only have a few seconds, we'd like to become part of that referendum. We need it. Thank you.
Mark Lutho, Largo. Well, it's wonderful every meeting to hear how great Lentino is. You know, you could cut your time in half by eliminating all those ums and ahs. It's really annoying. Here's December 1st. They will not break us. The union. What a joke. And the superintendent says the board is going to foot the bill. I think he means the taxpayers. And he talks about the state resources. That's the taxpayers again. You know, everything comes from the taxpayers. You know, there isn't some kind of magical money tree out there. Yeah. Here's this article, New Charter School aims to focus on sustainability. There's a lot of waste in the world. Oh, can you find it here? Yeah, and they're gonna teach the children's all about it. That's a shame. There's such a focus that you have on that when you miss it all. Here's the headline: Dead and Gone Forever, Species We Lost in 2018. And your existence causes their demise. And here's this column by Orrin H. Pilkey, Getting Real About Climate Change. In the last 2 years, 18 North Atlantic hurricanes struck the United States. And they're powerful storms, the beginning of the new normal, the impact of a warming ocean on hurricane intensity. So, again, the cause and effect. We shape our buildings. Thereafter, they shape us. See, it's what you're doing. It's a doggone shame. It's malfeasance.
I would like to leave you with a wonderful quote for today because we're just so excited to be working together. It does make a difference. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together means progress. Working together is success. Have a great day.